Alright, so back on Jake, we are going to replace the water pump gasket today. We'll get to that number as well. Water pump is fine. The gasket is what the issue is. It's deteriorating and it's leaking, dripping very slightly. But since I've got some time to do it, I'm going to take care of it. First of all, we got a serpentine belt right here that we're going to take off in a minute by using a 3/8 breaker bar in this hole right down here on the adjuster, the auto adjuster pulley arm. But first of all, we're going to use a 13mm socket. I'm going to use a small breaker bar to hold the pulley in place so it can spin. And we'll get these bolts broken loose. We've got the bolts broken loose. I thought maybe by leaving the belt attached it wouldn't spin, but it did, so we still had to use the little breaker bar to bank against the center and against one of the bolts. So we tried, no problem. They're loose. Now we can go with the taking the serpentine belt off. It's pretty simple. On a 2007 to 2011 Jeep Wrangler, you just insert your 3/8" breaker bar or ratchet, whichever you decide to use, and push down. That's it. You push down, it loosens the belt, and slide it off. Let it go, pops up all the way and stops. That's it. The serpentine belt is off. Like I said, it's very simple. On this engine, the 3.6 is a little more difficult. So hate that for you guys, but 3.8, pretty simple. Alright, well, before I did any of this, which I'll put a picture on what I did, I drained the radiator fluid. There's a petcock on the bottom of the radiator on the passenger side, and I hooked up a hose to it, and then drained it off into a bucket. Looks like this is not going to cooperate, so we'll just turn it until it does. slowly work it around, and it'll pop right off eventually. And there you have your full water pump exposed. Clean that up later. Put some anti-seize on it, as I do. I like anti-seize. It works on everything. So the water pump is solid. There's no play, there's no squeaking, there's no issues with the water pump. It's right down here underneath on the edge is where it's been leaking at. So that's why we're gonna switch it out. So to take the water pump off, it's just some 10mm bolts. So we've got a 3-inch extension with my 3/8 ratchet, and we will take those bolts off. I drained the radiator. That doesn't mean that there's still not going to be some coolant in the block. So and they're not tight at all. They don't really have to be. It's just a seal. It's not a pressurized seal. And we got fluid. So grab my bucket so I can catch that. Don't make too much of a mess. The plan is to do some other work today, maybe if I get to it. So I don't need to be making a big mess down there. So we'll just let that drain before I continue. That one. Gasket, it looks like there is 7. So you got 1 right underneath here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there, 7, 2 down the bottom. They're all loose. We'll let that drain for a little bit while longer. Then we'll continue. Alright. While we're waiting, I went ahead and loosened the screws as you wear the bolts. A little bit more. It's still kind of draining as this loosens up. So I'll break it loose here in just a second, and we'll have a big mess on the floor. Hopefully not, but there is just no way to do a water pump or even drain the darn radiator without making a mess. So I've done pretty good so far. Get these the rest of these bolts out all the way, pull the water pump out, then we'll clean up the gasket mating surfaces and be ready to put it back together. Easy day. I know it's hard to see what I'm doing in the video, so I got some still pictures that I'll add. But if you watch the video, once you get in here, you'll see exactly what's going on up close. The video is really just secondary to listening to what I'm saying about the process of changing a water pump or just a water pump gasket like I need. Yep, sporting my red Scorpion. Red Scorpion fabrication out of Tampa. Ron Davis, off-road vehicle builder extraordinaire. Alright, looks like the water stopped. Coolant. That's the last bolt. And there's your water pump. Looks good. No issues, I didn't think. So we'll just clean up that mating surface and put her back together. Okay, so now that I've got the water pump out of the Jeep, got various different things you can use with this. Is a actual gasket scraper. You just want to get all this old gasket material off the water pump. So when I do this, you can use a gasket scraper. You can use a little wire brush, fine tune it. You can use a big wire brush. Got some thicker material that just won't come off with the scraper or the small one. So whatever you need to do. I mean, you could use a screwdriver if you didn't have any of this stuff. So there's various different ways to get the gasket material off of the water pump. The main thing is get the gasket material off the water pump. It needs to be clean, grease-free, oil-free when you put it back on. So you don't want anything interfering with the gasket mating from the water pump to the engine block. You need to do the same thing to the engine block. Use anything you can, just don't gouge the gasket mating surface. That would be bad. So, alright, let's continue on with this and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, a couple little final finishing touches, and I think the water pump looks pretty good. Man, come on. It's pretty clean. But that's what you want. You want it clean so that the gasket has a nice clean surface to mate to when you sandwich the water pump back to the block. So, one other thing. So after I cleaned up the water pump itself to get all the gasket material off, remember how the difficulty I had getting the water pump pulley off the water pump. So what I did was I also cleaned up this mating surface right here where the water pump pulley sits on the pump, so that it won't, be seized to it if this happens again. And now that I've got it cleaned up, I'll put a little bit of anti-seize on there so that it won't, the two different metals won't mate themselves to each other. This is steel and the pulley, I believe, is bimetal or aluminum. So there you go. Anyway, clean the mating surface, clean the surface where the pump attaches to the pulley. That's all I wanted to say. I got there in the end. Alright, so that's a little bit better of an angle to see what I'm doing now. So what I did was I stuffed some paper towels. You can use paper towels, you can use a rag, whatever you want to use, but just make sure that you protect the inside of the block so that none of this gas material ends up inside the engine, because it could clog a passageway, and then that would be bad because your engine would not be getting the coolant that it needs to get to where it needs to get. You could have hot spots in your engine block and could cause all kinds of bad stuff. But so that's what I did. Hopefully I can get this gasket off in mostly one piece. We'll see what happens. Hey, oh, yeah, see how brittle it is? Should not be that brittle. So, but it was leaking right down here is where the leak was. That's working out nicely. I guess I should have stuck something in there too. So let's do that. Get a piece of paper towel up inside that galleyway so we don't get nothing in there either. There you go. That's good. All that nasty gasket's coming off in one nice shot. All right. Now it's mostly off. Pretty good. Scrape it a little bit, and then come in here with the wire brush and fine tune it and get all the rest of the stuff off, dry it off, put the new gasket on, and we will reassemble. Alright. Okay, so as you can see, after about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes of scraping and wire brushing and scraping and wire brushing and all that again, we got a nice clean surface for the gasket to go to on the engine block. So with a nice clean surface on the water pump, engine block, I'm going to pull those pieces of paper towel out of there and I'm going to put it back together. So here we go. Oh, and for anybody that wants to know, the gasket only goes on the water pump one way. You can't put it on backwards. It doesn't work. So this surface goes toward the water pump. Like I said, it only goes on one way anyway, so can't mess it up. Let's get that out of there. Get that out of there. Couple of them started. not difficult. It's a pretty simple process. I mean, everybody thinks water pump and they get scared. Gotta take the engine apart. You gotta do this, gotta do that. Some vehicles, yeah, it's difficult. 2007 and 2009, or 2007, 2011, as you were. Jeep Wrangler, JK and JKU, not so bad. I mean, come on. If I wasn't recording this and doing everything so you guys could understand it better, you could probably do this in an hour. From the time you take the serpentine belt off, take off the pump, pulley, you know, drain the coolant, all at the same time, I bet you could do it in an hour. Well, we'll see. The video probably won't be, 25 minutes, 30 minutes max. But a lot of that time I cut out was scraping gaskets and all. That's the time-consuming thing. Just with any job, the most time-consuming part of making videos for people to be able to easily do these tasks takes the longest is the prep. So prepping your water pump surfaces so that everything is clean and neat and tidy, grease free, water free, oil free, so that you just didn't do this for nothing. That takes time. Preparation to success. So these 10mm bolts, once they're snug, I'll go back, they get torqued to 105 inch-pounds or 9 foot-pounds. But since I have an inch-pound torque wrench, I will torque them to 105, which I'll do right now. All right, 105 inch-pounds. I'll go around and check them all to make sure. Yep. Alright, that's it. That's all 7. 105 inch-pounds. The pulley gets set to 250. Alright, as I said, I put a little bit of, just a little very thin coating of anti-seize on this hub, or the water pump pulley. Make sure I get these holes in the right spot so that it wouldn't, oh yeah, first try, nice. So that the next time it comes off, it won't be so much of a pain in the ass. Guess there's no hole there. Again, this is 250 inch-pounds. That's quite a bit. It's like 20 foot-pounds maybe, around that. I know 105. I know the inch-pounds, 105 inch-pounds is 9. So figure it out. Alright. So snug these down, and then we'll torque them up properly. Last thing we need to do is put the serpentine belt on, which is again pretty simple. Most engine compartments have a little diagram on how it goes back in. So look at that, look at your diagram or look it up. Alright, so like I said, wind your belt to where it needs to be, up this pulley, around that pulley, down this pulley. Put your 3/8 inch drive ratchet or breaker bar back in the square, push down, it loosens up the belt, and then you can fit it on the rest of the way, making sure that the belt is centered on the pulleys and all the grooves are in the grooves and not partially in grooves like the AC was over there. So now it's all good to go. You release, and that's it. Belt's back on, in all the grooves or the pulleys on the smooth part centered, and we're all good. So there you have it. Now you just have to refill your coolant, let it run to normal operating temperature, check the coolant, make sure everything's good to go, and that's it. Alright, job done. It's a Jeep world. Have fun. Take your time with whatever you're doing. Follow directions. If mine aren't good enough for you, the tools you don't have, you know, research. Do a little bit more research. But I will put the tool list that you need, the part number that I used. Alright, peace out. Have a great day.